What this really is about is power. Ms. Hobart Flynn in 1970, when John Gardner started your organization, a Republican who served a Democratic administration, it was about power then, it's about power now, and we've grown. Clearly, there is growing research that says that Congress does not reflect the average person, and it reflects more people who contribute and have influence on both sides. For my opinion and many others, that has contributed significantly to our income inequality and a lack of opportunity, particularly for younger people. Would you address sort of the historical perspective from Common Cause and John Gardner's admonition, which is your call, holding power accountable over time?
Yes, thank you. You know, the challenge here is that what we're talking about is the ability of wealthy interest to speak louder than the rest of the American people. And that's what we object to. What we are doing is not actually putting in place anything that violates anybody's freedom of speech. We're talking about simple things like disclosure, a voluntary system of small donor reform. Candidates do not have to participate, and the fact is, you know, how this will be funded depends on the system. In Connecticut, they used unclaimed assets to fund the public financing system. The difference is that people who are not wealthy and not connected to special interests can run for office. They have a competitive chance. They don't have to be connected to wealthy interests. And then once elected, they are free to serve based on what their constituents want, and they don't have wealthy interests coming up and saying, hey, this is what I need you to do, I need this tax break or something else. It frees them. And so what you see in those kinds of systems is that people govern differently. I saw a palatable difference with lobbyists who were treated by freshmen who ran under the program. They didn't think they were powerful. They treated them, you can tell me information, but you have no control, no monetary control. And so they can enact what is best in the best interest of their citizens. Those are the kinds of things we need to look at. A comprehensive approach also deals with ethics. So you may have this system set up that people can choose to run in or not, but if in the end they're taking money through the back door in gifts and money that goes to their businesses, they still could have corruption problems. So you need to look more broadly at these issues. You also need not only to lift the voice of small donors, but lift the voice of all Americans so that they can vote and have a voice in their democracy. And so that's why you see these voting measures that are so incredibly important to make it easier, and actually it ends up saving money when you move to online voter registration. There are checks in place so that you're not capturing illegal immigrants in voting. So what we want to see is a chance to have, you know, independent agencies, and the Federal Election Commission is one that's flawed, that has not worked, and you've had Republicans block enforcement of the law. We need agencies that enforce the law with integrity. And so you can have things like blue ribbon commissions, like they talk about in this bill. There are other models to look at in Wisconsin with the Government Accountability Board, in Connecticut with bipartisan and independents involved. So it is a holistic approach to try and ensure that people's voices are heard in our democracy.
And I just editorial comment, I'm constantly reminded as a former history major, the history around us when Teddy Roosevelt talked about the malefactors of great wealth and the influence of trusts in the Congress, and what that led to is the inequality that we now rival at this point in time. Mr. Schaub, just briefly.